Hey folks, welcome back. Working with slider components, the Parallax Slider. One of the coolest things I think that we've seen come to the web recently are parallax sliders. They have some real eye-catching effects. And what we're going to talk about today, or what I'm going to demonstrate, is how to add and remove slides. Parallax Slider just takes a block of code or HTML, slides it across the page, displays it for a while, and then moves to the next one. Uh, it includes an image, text, any HTML code. In our examples, we have a button, we have a header text and a paragraph text, and we have an image. We're going to show you how to change that as well as the height. If you've worked with the Jumbotron carousel, it will automatically resize or the height as you change the images, but the parallax slider is a little bit different because there's animation effects that go on. There's a little bit of extra math that goes on in the background, so it doesn't automatically change the height when you change an image size. Let me explain by demonstration. Here is an example of the default that you may see in your site. There's heading text. You see how it sort of animates, it slides in and moves out at different times? Right. So we've got the heading, we've got the paragraph text, we've got a button, we've got the picture, a little bits down here to move to the next slide, or of course the arrows to move to the next bit of information there. Okay, so here's an updated version that we've created for you here. Okay, we've got some text and we have the picture here and whatnot, but we've made a couple of, I guess, blunders intentionally. Some of the text goes over top of the image. We'll show you how to change that. The picture here, see how it's actually somewhat centered in the button, but it gets cut off at the bottom here. So you need to change the height to the allow for the maximum height of your image, or just simply resize your image to fit. So we're just going to show you a couple of typical tweaks that you would need to make to really have this fit. In other words, if I were doing this for my own site, I would just make sure that I get everything in there the way I want. I'd probably resize the pictures and resize the heading text up here to make sure that it fits exactly the way I want it, so it looks really good. It's not just one of those you can just drop stuff in there and it's going to magically work. You may have to work things or tweak things a little bit in order to make them look really sharp. And the two things that you probably have to tweak are the heading font sizes and or the image size. And typically I'd start with the image. I'd make sure the image is, if I've got text that goes all the way across, to me that's probably has a little bit more weight or importance than the image itself. So I'd probably have the image be a little bit smaller to allow the text to flow over it, or at least if the text is flowing over it, it wouldn't impede the overall look of the image. Like here, it doesn't look really good, and we did that intentionally. And we also, if you notice, the title flows off the page. Okay, winner of the day of boop, the rest of it's missing there. So we're going to show you how to fix that. Okay, so let's jump into our editor and our library and our sliders. Open up the Parallax Slider page, and there's the page right there. Basically made up of a heading of an H2, paragraph text. There's text which is hyperlinked, and it uses a style to apply a button to it, and then there's an image. Those are the four components for the slider. If you want to add another slider, switch it over to code view, go and find the existing slider. I just noticed I had my own typo there with slider 2, 3, 4. I was messing around with things earlier. Okay, so to create another slide, just copy slide 4, for example. And just after the comment tag, give yourself a little bit of space here. So the body tag and the comment tag of slide 4, there's a little bit of white space so you can maneuver. Put your cursor on the page and paste, Control V on the keyboard. And that's it. That's how to copy and paste. You don't have to change any other information. I do like to change my comment tags right here so I can actually keep things in sequence. That's how I made a mess of things earlier when I was playing around. Okay. And now you just go to the design view and you would change your heading, your paragraph text, your read more button, and your image. I'll just briefly show you how to do that, and then I'll show you how to resize things so they fit. Okay, so I've got my assets folder with the parallax images in here. So to replace the images, I'm just going to drag and drop them straight in. So we go into the Parallax Slider, the images folder right here, and this is where you're going to put your pictures, okay? Like I said, if you're going to be doing this, you can use a regular square rectangular JPEG image, or you can use something like a PNG where you've sort of cut out some of the background and whatnot. It really depends on your graphic skills and where you get the picture, and you can be as creative as you want to in this case. The HTML is just going to slide the image across the page. That's really all the parallax component does itself. What you do with your images, well, you can get really creative in that respect. So let's just grab some pictures right here. All the PNGs. I'm just going to drop them into the images folder like so. To change a picture, same process we've used before if you've watched other videos, and that's just double click on the picture to access the picture properties. Click on the browse button, go to your sliders folder, go to your Parallax Slider folder, the images, and then select the picture you want to use as the replacement. We'll select our number 2 right here for this example. Click open and OK. There, picture's changed. Now we're going to double click on that again, go to the appearance, deselect specify image size, click OK, and now we have a responsive image. If you leave the specify size, it will not respond to smaller browser windows and mobile devices. So that's the picture. Changing the heading text, my preferred method is just to click somewhere inside the existing heading, click the H2 tag in the quick tag selector to make sure that when you retype your information it's still wrapped in that H2 heading tag, and new header here. Right, same with the paragraph text, pop it in there, right? Select the paragraph tag and new paragraph. Right. For the read more button, right click on it, select hyperlink properties, my button, and then link it to whatever page you want it linked to. Okay, so that's the process of updating the 4 components for each slide. Now I'm going to go change a picture here down below to one that is much larger and will not fit overly well the Jumbo 4. And OK, double click, appearance, specify, and boom. Great, so that's done because I want to show you how to change that and the heading. So we're going to take our heading text here and we're just going to add it in there a little bit so we can show you how to size that up. Now I've zipped right over to the slide 2 here so you can actually see it in action. So we've got the heading, you can see that it runs off the page and the picture doesn't quite fit. Let's talk about the image size. If you really want to keep the image the size that it's at and just increase the size of your parallax slider, let's just show you how to get that done. Let's go back to our library and our sliders and our parallax slider and our CSS and open up the parallax slider.css. Scroll on down a little bit here, and here we have the slider and the height. The height is 400px. In this particular slide, probably similar in yours, just change it to whatever height works. Let's just pop that up to 500, and this is something you need to play around with in order to find out what's going to work best for you. So change the height there, go back to your page, refresh it, scooch on over, make sure that picture fits, and it does. You maybe even trim a few pixels off of that yet, right? Maybe make it 470 if you really want to get picky. Okay, let's go take a look at changing the size of the H2 tag here, right? Now, unfortunately, it's all sort of positioned, as tight to the top as we can get it, leaving a little bit of margin. So your only option is really to just size the text or size the image so things fit. Let's go back to our style sheet here and let's look for the H2 tag, which is a little further down the page here. And there it is right there. And there's the font size for it right there, 66 pixels. So this is where you need to sort of start adjusting things to fit. Let's start with 30px, right? And down below is the font size for the paragraph tag. So if you need to change things in relation, you can do that as well. We're going to leave it at 18px for now. Let's just go back to our page and resize it there. So there's the size of the header. Still very legible, right? And probably when there we go. Scrolls onto the page. Now the entire thing fits and it looks good because it lines up just at the edge there, right? We still have our paragraph text, which is smaller, so the heading still stands out above the paragraph text, and then of course our read more button. So that's sort of a couple things you can do in order to make things fit, because there's not going to be one beautiful solution that comes right out of the box when it comes to matching headings with images and doing this sort of an arrangement on a parallax slider on your page. But there are options you can work with in order to make things end up looking and working the way you want them to.